Great. I think we're ready to get started. Almost there. Yeah, and today we are dedicating this discussion, in fact, the conversations for the entire day to a very dear friend and quite an icon in the law and justice space, one of the leading entrepreneurs, innovators, Shamnath Bashir. He passed away last year, the founder of IDI, and inspiration to many of us. And today is his birthday. So we are, dedicating these conversations to him. If he was here, he would be a part of it. He would be showing the way. He is here, but not in body. So we miss you, Shamnath, and we hope to do justice to your values and your vision. So remembering Shamnath Bashir, many of you would have known him. We remember him fondly. Great, we're almost there. Yeah, I think it's time we can get started. Fantastic. Great. So we want to start on time. I think most folks are already on. So welcome, folks. Welcome to the second session in the Justice track of Charcha 2020. If this is your first experience of Charcha 2020, then welcome to Charcha 2020. And this is the Justice track. We're looking at matters of critical public importance in the time of COVID, as a result of COVID. And, we've tried to touch on different aspects. The first conversation that happened today was the conversation on the future of the courts. And this conversation is quite different. And we know people are experiencing some webinar fatigue, so we want to do things slightly differently. So we are doing a skit, and we're really putting it out there. And this is possible because in our community, we have some very, very creative people. So we thought, why not learn about some of the innovations and how disputes are being resolved by tapping into the creative power of some of the entrepreneurs working in that area. We have, in our case, a couple. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Badri and Akshita. And after this skit, I'm going to have a conversation with them, which is going to be a huge come down from this incredible little skit. But Badri, Akshita, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Sachin. Hello, wonderful beings. Welcome to Charcha 2020. Today we speak about law, justice, and dispute resolution.
Conflicts. What a beautiful concept if you actually think about it. The faster you figure out how to resolve your conflicts, the sooner you evolve. It leapfrogs us to a path of success, a path of evolution, and of course, a path of progress.
Today we tell you the story of human beings and their evolution, and disputes and their resolution. Long before human beings were in fashion, when Earth was just a hotbed of chemical reactions and weird concoctions, there existed just one kind of beings, single-celled organisms. Take a look at one typical specimen here. Life was so simple back then. Just look at it. Just one cell. No organs, no bones, no personalities, no brains, and absolutely... sorry, little brain. You know what I mean. Now, evolution tells us that single-celled organisms needed to come together. But do you think that just happened the first time they bumped into each other? No. Each cell seemed to have some dispute with one another, and they kept avoiding each other. You know for how long? For 3 billion years. Yeah, 3 billion years.
3 billion years?
Yeah.
That's like the runtime of Balika Vadu.
Yes. So long story short, the first ever dispute took 3 billion years to resolve before the single-celled organisms finally learned to collaborate. Because if they did not, if they had not, we would still be floating around trying to keep our nucleolus from leaking into our endoplasm. Yeah.
And then fast forward, and you know the drill. Multicellular beings rapidly evolved into millions of species, waterborne, airborne, landborne, and then we humans came in.
Yes. And we banded up together into villages, kingdoms, and better still, civilizations.
With the evolution of human minds, we got systems, we got new races, new rules, new traditions, and of course, new disputes. And disputes need to be resolved to evolve further. So
Yes.
let's look at some of these mortal beings in disputes and see how they evolve.
Scene one. Hey, uh, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for meeting me. I hope you're not too busy. I needed some help.
Hey, no problem at all. How are you and how come you remembered me all of a sudden?
I'm good. Thanks. Well, not so good actually. Uh, I wanted to meet you because you're a lawyer, and I got this letter from my bank today. It says they're going to initiate a legal notice on me for not paying my EMIs.
One second, one second. So, why haven't you paid your EMIs?
Yeah, I lost my job. But can they just put a case on me like this? Those annoying calls from the bank, I just stopped picking them. I'm really in distress, and now I feel harassed. But I didn't know they could just put a case on me. I just wanted some time to pay up, okay? I don't know what to do now.
Okay, first, stop panicking. We can figure this out. Have you checked if the bank has started using online dispute resolution? Because lots of these banks have started providing this option now.
What is dispute resolution? I don't know. I'm just one customer out of millions, okay? And if they, I don't know whether they will even care about the fact that I lost my job and I'm taking care of family of 6. I just need some time, okay? That's all I'm asking for.
They need to know this.
But will they even listen to me?
Of course. And you can just figure out a new payment plan that works for you as well as the bank. Both of you are happy at the end of the day.
And how can I even figure this out myself? What if I get cheated by them? Banks will only give a solution that's beneficial for them, right?
No. So there are online platforms to help you with this. You know, you even get a neutral person who can help you and the bank work through an issue. So also, please remember that if you need me, I'm always here for you. But
Thanks.
in this case, I'm fairly sure you can manage on your own.
Really? I don't think there's a harm in trying, right? So let me just take a look at that today.
Yeah, because I've heard this works. So give it a try. And it seems like a really straightforward matter. I think you can just figure this out like this.
Great. Scene 2. Ms. Malini,
Hmm?
this is about our hearing that is scheduled soon after the domestic flights are operational. Unfortunately, I can't travel. Uh, I've decided not to travel as my wife is expecting a baby, and I don't want to be in a different city when the date is near. And considering the risks involved, I don't want to.
I understand, Mr. Verma, but we've already lost 8 months. First, to get the date that works with everyone. And then on top of that, this lockdown. See, we need to book flights, we need to book the hotels, We can't keep the matter hanging like this for too long. The disputing parties will be quite stressed. The arbitrators also. Oh God.
Yeah, that's right. It's true, but wait. Um, do you think it will work if I join remotely or video conference or something?
I don't know, Mr. Verma. What? We need to check with the arbitrators. But first, if you are attending remotely, then I can also do so.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why not.
I was just kidding, Mr. Verma.
But I was not, Miss Malini. In fact, we can all join in remotely. The arbitrator, the parties, and even the witness. No travel, no spending on stays, and we save so much time as well.
Come on, Mr. Verma. Let's not reduce a hearing to a mere Skype call. It's a high value case. We can't take it this lightly.
Miss Malini, we are in an era where the surgeries are done remotely. And I'm not proposing anything that is not done before, right? So, have you heard of ODR?
Yes, I've heard of ODR. But do you think it'll work in the kind of cases that we deal with?
Why not? I think it will. I think even the parties will be happy. Let's give them ODR.
What do you mean, let's give them ODR? It's not demonetization, no, that you will just give them and that they will take it?
Yeah. Scene 3.
Hi. Ooh, what are you eating? Sure, looks damn fancy.
Fancy. Yeah. Macha, this is Uppitra. And that too I made. Hmm. I think you have some internet issue. Check. Fancy it seems. I've eaten some 100 plates of Uppit in this lockdown, okay? Really, can you see my tears from the Zoom call?
You don't worry, we're all in the same boat. I miss ordering food too. You just imagine some tandoori chicken right now.
Don't don't mention food, okay?
Dude. That place we order from, paneer butter masala.
No, stop it, please. Hello?
Dude, malai
No.
kofta. Oh, sorry.
Anyway, so how are you spending your lockdown?
Dude, eating, sleeping,
Hmm.
catching up on some hobbies here and there. But I'm
Hmm.
so scared once this lockdown is removed, we'll have a truckload of cases. I can't even imagine how busy I'm going to get. Dude, it just stresses me out. What have you been doing?
I'm eating truckloads of Uppit and attending equal number of webinars. I'm waiting for this lockdown to end badly, okay? And you're scared of it, it seems. Don't you miss going to court?
No, of course I do. But if I sit like this without working on cases, then we'll just be overburdened later, man.
Hmm. Yeah, true. But you know, I saw one webinar last week. They were talking about how all these disputes can be resolved online only. Think how funny it will be, no? Judge will be like, order, and the lawyer will be like, sir, I can't hear you. And witness will be like, he will be typing a message, power went up in my house.
I've also been seeing, okay, online dispute resolution, catching
Uh,
up, and you should listen to this one, okay?
uh,
Last week, my lawyer came for virtual hearing wearing a banyan. And the judge was so furious, he cancelled the full hearing, gave a new date, that too after lockdown.
really?
I died laughing. Can you just imagine how easy it is to delay cases like this?
Oh, yeah, what an idea, Sarji. Wow, 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 wow. This online and all is too much, okay? Hmm. It is so easy to come on some webinar and give bhashan, no? For
Ah,
everything, they think they can just go online and solve all the problems.
that's what I've been seeing. But they can, no?
Hey, But maybe some small matters, maybe. What, you really think they can, huh?
I mean, if you think about it, I guess they can. It seems possible.
Really, huh?
Hmm.
Hey, then listen. Shall we start one startup in this field?
Hmm.
Scene 4. And this lockdown is feeling like forever.
Yeah.
I heard, uh, I heard something. Some dispute with your music venue, it seems. You want to tell me about it?
Yeah.
But not in a full-blown musical, okay? Just tell me.
Ask.
Mm, okay, here we go. So, what did the venue say for not paying you?
Listen. So they came to me and they were like, I'm begging you for mercy. Why won't you believe me? They said, I'm begging you for mercy. Why won't you release me? And I was like, hello, you release my payment first. And they were like, please just waive off the due payment now. That's what they told me.
What?
Can you
What? And what did you say? Wait. Just tell me, okay? Hmm?
I was obviously like,
Ah,
I think I've had enough. I might get a little drunk and I say what's on my mind. I might give you a little time, 'cause all of my kindness is taken for weakness. Now I'm for that.
okay. So that's what led to the nasty showdown. Hmm? Uh, and
If you actually
no, don't answer that. Just tell me what happened then.
include, then obviously, like, we fought, and yeah, I may have said some things, but you will not believe what he told me after that.
What?
He said, Anika, if we can't resolve this, I think we should just take it to court.
Quota.
Take it to court. And I was like, they try to make me go to court, but I said no, no, no. Yeah, we've got a tip, but that is not the path we will go. 'Cause I ain't got the time, and if my lawyer thinks I'm fine, they try to make me go to court, but I said no, no, no.
No. I got it. Now, just listen to me. What if I tell you you don't have to go to court and use that precious time to learn some new songs and do some more shows?
So that cops come in while I'm performing, drag me in front of the audience. You want to know what the perfect song for this moment is?
No. Sorry, I don't want to, and that moment will not arise. You should use ODR platform to resolve your disputes. Sit at home, chill, go online, settle your dispute. You may you may even get some free food as a complimentary for lifetime from that music venue. Who wouldn't want that?
ODR. Online dispute resolution.
Yes, that's right.
Free food.
Yep.
ODR. Oh, why haven't I thought of this? ODR. Sounds good, no?
Yeah.
Shit. I feel like singing.
No,
ODR.
no. It's just
I see the light, and it's like a fog has lifted, and at last I see the light, and it's like the sky is new. Did you go? That's rude.
humans don't want to fight.
Humans don't want to be stuck.
I don't want everyone to know and have a say about my every problem.
All people want is to be heard.
I don't want my life to be defined by my conflicts.
Sometimes it's just too small a matter to take over one's life.
Yeah, something needs to change.
Something definitely needs to change.
The end.
Oh my God. That was awesome. That was awesome. That was fantastic. Really, I'm just soaking it in. What talent,
Thank you.
what talent, what talent. And one thing is for sure, I don't know, I'm hoping that those startups, of course, become wildly successful. But if they don't, you guys don't need to worry about jobs. Well, that was really great. And Madhuri, Akshita,
Okay.
thank you. We've been talking about how, um, there's just been a lot of conversations, a lot of talk. And we originally, when we thought we do something on ODR, we were like, okay, who do we bring in for a conversation? But just changing up the mood, just a little song and a little theater, nothing like that to get the message across. So yeah, I have a few questions for you, just to from. I know it's going to be a huge come down for from the incredible theatrics first half an hour, but I'm still going to lean in and ask those questions, and hopefully it won't be too boring. And we do have a bunch of people who've tuned in, so we have questions from them as well. People, please, if you have questions you want to bring to this incredibly talented, couple of entrepreneur artists, please bring those questions to them. But just to ground this a little bit in what this is, what is ODR and what are you doing, I just thought I could bring a few questions for you. Yeah, right? You're good? Awesome. Great. So let me kick off with the first one, which is, you mentioned this many times, and it's so clear that I think you are ambassadors for the fact that for too long we've depended on this idea that if you have a dispute, you go to a lawyer and then you go to court. And unfortunately, it hasn't really worked out for us that great. We're a country where, we have a history of doing things differently, but for some reason, we become over dependent on the courts, and takes more than 4 years to resolve the average case. You got like several million cases pending in the courts. Clearly, and it's not just about that, it's also about the fact that resolving our disputes should be something in our hands, right? A little bit of power that we can exercise, right? So I think that this idea that there could be innovations that make resolving disputes that much easier, faster, just makes a lot of sense. So let me begin by asking you a little bit about your own startups. Maybe we can start off with Akshita. Akshita, tell us a little bit about Sama. You're the co-founder. Tell us a little bit about what Sama does.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Sachin. I'm glad you enjoyed Ask It. Yeah, so Sama is it's an online dispute resolution platform. Sama, basically, we're aiming at being able to solve millions of disputes using like sophisticated technology and the use of very good arbitrators, mediators, or just neutrals in general whenever required. Because I think we firmly believe that all your cases don't have to keep ending up in court. And there is a lot of autonomy. You can solve a lot of your problems on your own. And sometimes just use technology as their fourth player and just get that guy in and help you out. It's a very, very useful way to look at how you should be resolving disputes.
Right, right. So it is your approach is a digital platform that combines the technology with experts who help to resolve the disputes, right? So that's and for those who don't know, mediators, people who can facilitate between two people who have a dispute, and arbitrators are kind of like people who pass a decision on behalf of the parties who have a. So it's slightly different. It's a different process, but these are both mechanisms of resolving disputes. Badri, what about CODA, Center for Online Dispute Resolution? Tell us a little bit about CODA.
Yeah, so CODA, we call ourselves as dispute resolution orchestrators. So we want to make dispute resolution effective, be it online or even offline. So we provide services end to end as well as modular services, which can just plug into any stage of dispute resolution cycle. So again, as I said, be it offline or online. So we want to make the resolution process effective. So we have arbitrators and mediators on the panel. We provide them. So we have the platform itself, which can be availed as for case management if somebody wants to take that. We have stenographers who can be availed for offline or online dispute resolution process. So we have these modular services that we offer, and that's how we want to make dispute resolution more effective.
Got it. And of course, you moonlight as a theater actor, or maybe you moonlight as a startup entrepreneur, clearly. Okay. So just, thinking about it from the consumer's point of view, like an ordinary person, if I am, say, a designer, I'm a freelance designer, and maybe Akshita, I can ask you this question. I'm a freelance designer, and oh God, we have our share of disputes, like payment issues, and the work I gave is not something that you asked for, even though the scope is clearly about that work. How do we make this happen? Because very often people aren't willing to come to the same table, right? Like they're not willing to come to the table if there's a dispute. Some people actually feel like, staying back and saying, okay, go to court, figure it out. So Akshita, how do we actually get people to come and so that the dispute can be resolved?
Yeah, so anytime there is any scope for conflict, and as we know, conflict is inevitable. So even in the freelancers world, it is so important to protect and secure yourself, protect and secure your work. And when you do that, you de facto protect the person that you're working with as well. So what we usually tell people, and what a lot of freelancers have been doing as well with us, is they just insert, let's say, like a SAMA ODR clause whenever they're doing any sort of work. When you just insert a clause, you're just protecting yourself. So the next time a conflict does arise, you're going to make sure that you're collaboratively trying to just get this resolved first before dragging each other to court or letting it even escalate to like a nasty dispute.
Got it. So this clause in the contract will then make sure that the other person has to use this alternate mechanism, right? Whether it's mediation or it's an arbitration, right? Like this clause is important. So if there is a case where someone has a dispute with someone, but there is no such clause in their contract, then you'll still have to get you'll have to somehow get the person to buy in, right? Like,
yeah.
So that's okay. That's interesting to think about. And suppose you do take this, kind of alternate path, and I'll ask both Akshita and Badri this. Akshita, suppose you do take this alternate path, and a mediator helps you come to a conclusion, and you kind of say, okay, agreed. I will, to take the designer's example, you know what? I will take 50% of the payment. Something like that. How do you what about the fear that people won't keep to their word? I mean, is this worth anything? Like, in the sense, is there any weight attached to this conclusion? Is that a fear?
Okay, so this is a common question that arises. So I'm glad you did bring it up. One, the way that you're even resolving the dispute, you're using collaborative methods to do so. So you're actually, the final decision that you both are taking as parties is something that you've come up with. There's a lot of autonomy involved. So there is a general ecosystem of respect when attached to processes like this. But that being said, even how it works at SAMA is usually we're doing conciliations or arbitrations, or even if there are mediations happening, like Sachin mentioned, there are different processes. There are laws. The Arbitration Conciliation Act makes it a legally binding award. So you are not walking away with just a random piece of paper where you've decided something. You're actually walking away with a legally enforceable document.
I get it. Badri, you want to add to that? That's really
So mostly I echo with what Akshita just said. So if I distill down the question, it is mostly what most people ask us: is it even legal? So that's what we tend to answer most of the times, because we are following the act and the processes that is upheld by the court itself. the award given by an arbitrator, even if it gets challenged, the court will look at the processes that are being followed. And if the processes are followed to the T, there is no reason why the court will even uphold the challenge itself.
I see. So there is a kind of recognition for these processes that can be. And, I was chatting with a young friend of mine who's also working in the space, and he joked saying that before COVID, of course, all jokes about COVID, you have to be very careful because, COVID is the dark place. He said before COVID, ODR was online dispute resolution. And after COVID, it's the only dispute resolution. You can't go anywhere. You can't go to the courts for most things. You can't, go across to your lawyer's office if you have one. So what has happened as a result of COVID? Let me ask Badri, what has happened? What have you seen? And why is it that COVID has accelerated the need for developing online dispute resolution so tremendously? What has happened?
Yeah, so it's something that we have learned after the COVID impacted and lockdown came in and all that. So that's when we have learned what the impact of COVID is on online dispute resolution. So although before COVID, we were actually going and meeting everybody, trying to convince them to use online dispute resolution, what was lacking was something that we only know now. For example, we were talking to people who have not even used Zoom in their lives. So we were talking to people who were using technology to an extent that will help them survive day to day and not necessarily overcome, barriers that they undergo every day. So we were only now we came to know that we were talking to those people because they came to us and they didn't know how to use Zoom. So, and then now we know that, so now they're converts, right? So now they have used Zoom, they understand that technology is already efficient. They can take care of a lot of questions that they had about the technology itself. And now they've started to believe more in online dispute resolution. So that has helped us. That has created more and more conversations around ODR. And that has enabled us to go and show the platform and the services to a lot more people who are influencers in the field. So who would otherwise not have devoted their time to us?
I see. Akshita, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I completely agree with Badri. When there's been a huge mass adoption of the online world, forced by COVID, but adoption nevertheless, right? And there are some people who say we probably wait till the courts reopen, but there are a lot of people right now who are facing the repercussions of what the pandemic has brought about. So some of the areas that we've been seeing that is a sudden spike in conflicts, a lot of landlord tenant issues, right? So many of those. There are a lot of contract renegotiations that are happening because this was so sudden that people weren't expecting to not be able to honor their contracts. And so we've been seeing a spike in these disputes. And since there is no other way, and it's like the only dispute resolution that's available, people are now looking at it, using it once, and they're like, why didn't we use this before? So we do have some converts, it's nice to see, and it's nice that they're using it and then they see the value and then they're moving to it. So it's been very
cool. Is that in one of your skits you had this part where the person goes, yeah, but maybe it can work. Like, the fact is that this is what online behavior feels like, no? In the sense that, oh, no way it can work because there's so many things. I remember talking to a friend of mine who was saying that, in the mental health community, there was this big question, could you do mental health counseling online? Mm-hmm. And people said, no, but you can't because there's A and B and C and you can't do that. But they realized that you can't just have this direct, let's transfer it from offline to online the way it is. It is a new paradigm. There's a new way of doing it. But and very often it's also mindsets. Like for a lot of people, maybe they're just okay with it. They're okay with discussing conflict and tricky issues and sorting it out online. Have you seen that kind of behavioral shift where some people think, oh, no way this can be done, and others, and they get surprised that it can be done? Any anecdotes, any thoughts there?
Yeah, so I think it comes down to accessibility, right? So some people, although they wanted to discuss, they didn't have an avenue which is accessible to them. So now, even if, for example, I need to negotiate with my bank to pay up my EMI, but what is the negotiation channel? So I'm getting a call from their call center, which is bugging me, annoying me, but that's not a negotiation channel. But we are creating a negotiation channel accessible to them at just a click of a button or click of a link. So that changes everything. So they're clicking the link, they're coming on, they're actually putting their information out there, and the negotiation is beginning. So that's a change that we are seeing at the moment because of this.
I just remember a funny story that happened with us, where someone used it, resolved their dispute very quickly, and then said, "It happened too fast. Like that was too easy. It's not feeling legal enough."
Yeah.
So when they realized that that's all it took, and you're like, it's done, that is problem is out of your life, there was like this sense of disbelief, because you always associate like legal as such a heavy, my legal dispute must go to court, must,
Hearing must happen.
yeah.
My document must be 3 copied and submitted.
You're
And
like,
it's
that doesn't feel
crazy.
legal.
Yeah, like sometimes you think the process has become bigger than the purpose.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's crazy that's happening. Awesome. And in terms of people, like, are there also big organizations that you've come across that are seriously looking at this for their large volumes of disputes, or is it mainly like small organizations? And Akshita, what's been your experience?
There has actually been a lot of takers, and one thing, like, being like, since we've been in this field for a while, it when impact leaders, industry leaders step forward, for example, working with ICICI Bank, for example, like huge bank, but the fact that they have that future facing approach creates, even I think, a very nice ripple effect. People are talking about it. And yeah, there have been some big e-commerce players who are coming in. I know OLX is someone who's trying to navigate the waters of ODR, and they've been pretty excited about the aspect of doing this, because it's also a little new for people. All their processes are based on traditional methods, so it's also an exciting process for a lot of them, because they're all sitting together and they're getting to rework on it. And yeah, people are actually very excited to be working on it, so that's nice to see.
And Badri, one thing that, like arbitration actually in the legal world is more known. Arbitration is nothing but a fancy word for somebody is actually, the parties to a dispute ask somebody to decide on their behalf, or there is a kind of another person who kind of decides the dispute, almost like a kind of a type of judge. But it's done, of course, the parties decide that. But that historically, that was super expensive, right? Like that's the image, right? Like
Yeah.
judges are arbitrators. Is there something new that you're proposing about like who can arbitrate that changes the game? Because that was unaffordable for most people.
Yeah, absolutely. So we need, I mean, most of the cases, the kind of values of cases that we are dealing with, it's absolutely prohibitive to go to the arbitrators that exist out there today. So we are building a pool of arbitrators, a large panel of arbitrators, by training a lot of experts in various fields. For example, it could be a CA, it could be a retired banker. So they have domain knowledge, and we are training them with the knowledge and processes of arbitration, and also they are undergoing a role play as arbitrators before we empanel them as arbitrators on CODR. And they're also writing awards which we keenly evaluate, and then only then they are empaneled on CODR. So they are best suited for the kind of cases that they get. So, and they are affordable, they are fast, and so they cater to a large segments of disputes that are out there which don't have anybody to hear them out at the moment.
Got it. Got it. Fascinating. Fascinating. I want to come to a couple of questions that are there from folks. One, I think we've already kind of resolved, which was a kind of $1 million question, which is, I think Natasha asks, what about existing disputes? Because if there is nothing in the contract that says, I think both of you answered that by saying that yes, that is a challenge, and the way that's being done is by reaching out to the other party and saying, look, don't you think it's basically selling the idea of resolving it more effectively through ODR rather than going to the courts and stuff, right? You sell the idea. Any on selling the idea, Akshita, any I remember chatting with you about the kind of how interesting it is to basically sell the idea. Any anecdote you can share on that learning about selling the idea to somebody who you don't have a understanding with or a clause with in the contract, but you're selling the idea that you should do it? which I think will go to Nita. Any learnings there?
Yeah. So I think one thing that we learned and that has helped us is our positioning. When you are explaining or trying to get someone to adopt something new, who says it or where it's coming from becomes so important. So being positioned as an independent, neutral institution was a huge push, because then you're not coming from an outside. There's no baggage of, oh, should I trust, should I not, because we have no ties. So then that removed an obstacle and people went, okay, let me hear you out. And that's all you need. You just need them, because a lot of people just don't know what it is. That's why they're not doing it. It's not that, oh, we know ODR A to Z and we just don't like it. That's not what we've seen.
Fascinating.
You know?
So just the idea that you are an independent organization, and you're kind of you're motivated to do this for both people, kind of creates a certain level of, initially I guess you have to make that clear, right? Like, so that people don't get confused that you're representing one side or the other.
I just have one point to add there, Sachin. So obviously getting into the contract of these companies is a best case scenario. So, and it takes time as well as deeper sense of trust. So to build that trust, they need to start using it before. So in existing ad hoc arbitrations and existing hearings, which they are not able to do because of the lockdown or whatever. So we need to provide them that ability to conduct that hearings. So, and that's what we are aiming to do at the moment. So we are bringing them on board, asking them to conduct the hearings here. And if everything is smooth and fine, then the trust is deeper. Then the next step of actually putting our arbitration clause in their contracts comes into.
I see. So just continuing with the questions, there's another question on the fact that there's been a lot of talk about the courts digitizing. We've been talking about live streaming and making the courts more efficient. In fact, yesterday there was news that they launched 2 virtual courts for motor vehicles matters. And so all sorts of stuff seems to be happening. Imagine a scenario where the courts are super efficient. Is there still need for ODR? What's your take? Maybe Badri, I can come to you.
I think that's a boon for ODR if that comes in. So if more and more people start going online to resolve disputes, even if it is court or otherwise, I think the ODR will flourish, mainly because the kinds of disputes that each one start catering to. And ODR is largely technology driven. So for example, if somebody who can get into automation of entire dispute resolution process, it has to be the ODR platforms and may not be court. So court will initiate that habit, and ODR will benefit from it. That's how I see it, and this has to happen. This is a natural course.
Got it. Anything to add?
This, like you said, this topic has been coming up a lot, and we've noticed there's a slight misconception here. ODR is actually not a competitor to e-courts. We actually, it's more of like a relationship that we thrive off of, because ODR is not necessarily only bringing, let's say, your offline mediation to an online mediation. That's not it. ODR can also very well be used to automate like processes in a much larger process. So as Badri said, it's actually more interlinked. It's more beneficial to both. And there's a slight misconception that it's actually like a huge contradiction, but that's not it at all.
Got it. And finally, maybe, just in the interest of time, Akshata, I can throw this at you. Is it relevant for those who don't have access to justice? Is it relevant for the grassroots? Is it just an urban thing for those of us who already have stuff? So yeah, I know it's a hard one, but especially as you're a startup, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, so there is no denying that there is a technology divide, right? There's no point acting like there isn't. It is, the internet is, concentrated in certain places. But that's why when, for example, even on some of the cases, we have people who can't speak English, who have no email ID, no access to a computer. And that's okay. Like, you can just get on a call and talk to us first. We're making sure that it is accessible, because we feel like that burden is actually on us. To make it as accessible as possible, and technology actually helps us simplify a lot of things. Right. So this is definitely not, it's definitely not someone that's just for the urban folks, if that's how it might be seen, but definitely not. And it may take a little time for everyone to use an end-to-end online. I come online, I chat, I finish and leave. But for now, we can always integrate a couple of phone calls if that's what's going to help you onboard to the process. WhatsApp, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, slow steps and you'll get there. You don't have to dismiss ODR altogether because of that. There are ways to circumvent it.
I see. Fantastic. Let me see if there are more questions. Are there? Okay, one which you've already answered. So let me just, my last question for both of you, it's got nothing to do with ODR. My last question for both of you, Akshita, what's your, you've got such a fantastic voice and such a wonderful artist. What's your favorite song? Maybe you can just share that.
Oh.
But I want to hear what's your favorite play.
I mean, there is no, I don't think I'll ever be, till I die, I won't be able to say I have one favorite song. But what am I listening to right now? I've gone back to listening to Hozier a lot. There's an artist called Hozier, an Irish artist, and I've been slightly obsessing over him again. So yeah, you should probably listen to Cherry Wine or Work Song.
Okay. Is that your preferred plugin when you're working on Summer? What are you listening to as your deep thinking?
No, by deep thinking, I'm mostly always with Pranjal and Vikram, my co-founders, and it's just us.
having met them, that's not music. Badri,
Yeah,
what
that's my work background.
What's your favorite piece of theater?
Good, you asked me about theater. If you had asked me about music or song, it would come from sometime in the 90s. My collection of songs has stopped there. So my favorite play, I would say, like I like fun plays. I like fun and really deep-rooted in art. So one of my favorite plays is Piya Behrupiya by Atul Kumar. I don't know whether you have seen it.
Yes.
So it's based on one of the Shakespeare's plays. So yeah, so that's my fun play.
How lovely, how lovely. Great, thank you. I'm sure that this keeps the creative juices flowing as you're creating both on the startup front and on the personal front. Let me thank you so much. Let me just quickly, a couple of important things for everyone to keep in mind. One is tomorrow's sessions.